Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We'll be getting started momentarily. We're just going to give an opportunity for everybody to log in and make sure they get connected to the web event. Currently, you should see a screen that says UHart info session, and hopefully you can hear me. Again, we'll be getting started very shortly. We appreciate you all being here. Hi, all. Thanks again for joining. Just a couple of quick things. We hope that you can see the screen being shared that says UHart info session. If for any reason you're having difficulty with that, please let us know using the chat function. I'll also be sending out a little message in the chat to all of the participants to ensure that everyone can hear us. But we will be starting here momentarily.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rick Zeiser. I'm the Dean of Admission at the University of Hartford, and I want to welcome you to this event today. As the name implies, we're trying to bring you up to date on things, and I have a great group of colleagues with me today who will introduce themselves and give a little bit of information about their areas of responsibility and how we are getting ready. And we're so excited to get started in the fall to see you on campus and get these things started. Catherine Deacon. Catherine?
Hi, everyone. Welcome. As Rick mentioned, I'm Catherine Deacon, Director of Student Financial Aid here at the University of Hartford. I look forward to going into some more details about financial aid here at UHart later on the call. Thanks.
And Mike?
Hi, everybody. Mike Ormsey from the Center for Student Success. I'm here to talk about our first-year advisors, orientation, and many other things related to the first-year experience.
And Max?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Max Koskoff. I am here from the Office of Residential Life, and I am here to talk about anything housing related.
And finally, Suzanne Mcneil.
A warm welcome to all our friends and family. Welcome. I am Suzanne Mcneil. I am the Assistant Vice President for Student Success. I'm all things student. Today I'm going to be discussing student support with you, everything from counseling to disability services to transition from high school to college. So I look forward to speaking with you in just a little bit.
Okay, with those introductions, I think we're ready to get going. I apologize, by the way. I'm having some technical difficulties today, so trust me, that's what I look like. But I am here and I'm anxious to talk to you. Just a couple of quick things, depending on whether those of you joining us are students who have already told us that you're coming in the fall, or you may be a student who, or a parent of a student who has yet to make a decision, which is perfectly understandable in these times. I want to assure you that the University of Hartford is still accepting deposits from admitted students. There is no penalty having passed May 1st. Your financial aid is intact. Your course availability when you go through orientation is going to be there. Housing if you want to live on campus. So nothing has changed to hamper you or worry you about sending in your admission deposit and being part of our class in the fall. A couple of things. We will be having many virtual opportunities to get to know us, and you're going to hear a lot more about the orientation program in particular coming up. But I ask you to be watching your email because these events are numerous and coming up, and the best way for us to communicate with you is email. I'd like to know if you haven't visited our campus that every Tuesday and Thursday we are doing a live virtual tour in the admissions office with one of our student tour guides. It is much more interactive and in-depth than just the virtual tour because they are live talking to you just as if they were leading you around the campus. So that's every Tuesday and Thursday. And all of these activities and more can be found on hartford.edu/virtual-experience. So I will let my colleague from Financial Aid take over at this point.
Thank you, Rick. Again, everyone, my name is Catherine Deacon, Director of Student Financial Aid. Kind of piggybacking off of what Rick mentioned about our virtual opportunities, this is my opportunity to give a shameless plug to an event that will be happening virtually next week. It is called Dollars and Cents. It will give all of our deposited students an opportunity to have an overview of financial aid in greater detail, as well as going through a lot of the information you're going to need to know about billing here on campus, making payments to your account, and that sort of thing. So all of that exciting stuff that you are interested in hearing more about. But just to give a brief overview of financial aid here at the University of Hartford, first and foremost, I'm sure you all are aware that we are working remotely right now, but that doesn't mean you won't have an opportunity to talk one-on-one with one of our financial aid counselors. We are available via email, via phone. We can set up Zoom meetings or WebEx meetings if you'd like to go into great detail about your specific account. As an admitted student to the University of Hartford, as part of your admission decision letter, you should have received information about academic-based scholarships that you may have been awarded. That's sort of the first step in the financial aid process. Beyond that, we do only have one application for financial aid here at the university, and that is the Fafsa Form, or the free application for federal aid, and it is completed online at studentaid.gov. It is not too late to complete your FAFSA if you haven't already and you are interested in applying for either federal aid or institutional need-based aid. As part of the FAFSA, the University of Hartford Financial Aid Office will review students, again, for need-based grant funds, additional scholarship funds, as well as employment opportunities through our federal work-study program. We also will review students for the Federal Direct Loan Program, which is a loan program offered through the U.S. Department of Education. Probably heard a lot about these loan programs right now. As due to the pandemic, there has been waivers of interest rates for students for the next 6 months, as well as cancellation of payments for the next 6 months and that sort of thing. So you probably heard a little bit about that. In addition, our office is available to help families through the process of applying for additional loans. The two main options that we normally counsel families on is our Federal Direct Plus loan, which is a loan that's in the parent's name, not in the student's name, and it is used to help cover account balances for families. The other option is a private or an alternative loan, which is through outside lenders. Again, let our office walk you through that. We're happy to help, happy to point you in a direction. This can be a confusing process, so we'd like to kind of help you through that as best we can, even though we are working remotely. At this point, I'll turn it over to Mike.
Thanks, Catherine. And thank you, Rick, for having me. Hello, everybody. Once again, I'm Mike Ormsby with the Center for Student Success. I wanted to give you a brief background on our office before I hit the orientation sessions. Our office is comprised of 13 professional staff advisors plus 3 student support specialists. And so those 13 staff advisors each have a cohort of the first year class. Some of them have full colleges, some of them have parts of colleges, but it's designed so that our first year students get a lot of individual personal attention from a professional staff member who has lots of connections and knowledge about the campus and its resources. So a lot of really great support that we have in our first year. You'll see the orientation sessions listed on there. If you haven't signed up through Slate, in your Slate portal, you can go on and pick an orientation session. Typically, we do 4 in-person orientation sessions plus a 5th at the end. But being that we're going virtual, we wanted to try and divide them up into smaller groups to make sure that all your questions get answered. And again, that you get to know both our orientation leaders, who will also be there virtually and interacting with our students, as well as our first year advisors and folks from your colleges. So we have those sessions. The sessions are going to be primarily for students. So parents are welcome to join for the first piece, which is going to be our welcome program, and designed to kind of lay out what the orientation in first year is like. But then after that, we're going to move into some sessions specifically for colleges, and those are going to be designed primarily for our students. We have a parent series and a summer orientation series that's going to be online that we're spreading out throughout the summer. And that's going to allow us to go a little bit deeper in detail for a series of a collection of pieces of information in different offices to be able to share more information about them. like I said, throughout the summer. So that information will be posted on our website at hartford.edu/orientation, and the links will be posted up there as well as we get closer to those dates. Like I said, I talked a little bit about our advising model. And one more thing actually to add about orientation is the interaction that we want students to have. So in addition to our orientation sessions and students starting to get to know their first year advisors, as well as some of their fellow students and their orientation leaders. We are also engaging in a platform called Zini, which will be sent out to students either sometime end of next week, I believe. And that's going to allow students to, after the orientation sessions, be able to interact with each other and engage even more with our orientation leaders. And that's, again, going to be throughout the summer process. So there'll be plenty of opportunities for students to engage with each other and be able to get to know each other through that platform. Something else to mention about our office, with our first year advisors, and talking a little bit more specifically about the support that they get, our first year advisors also teach our first year success seminar classes. And so each of their advisees is in a class with their first year advisor. So they're able to see their first year advisor once a week, in addition to meetings that they're able to schedule with them outside of that as well. So lots of time and attention that we give to our first year students. And in terms of like the general transition from high school to college, we're here for you throughout the summer. And so once we determine who your particular first year advisor is, students and parents, that's your person that's there for you throughout the summer, but also throughout the first year. Questions that you have, advice, all sorts of communication throughout the summer. So they're there for you, and they can be a really fantastic resource. So that's my piece for now. I think I'm going to turn it over to Max Koskoff in housing. Take it away, Max.
Thank you, Mike. Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Max Koskoff. I am the Assistant Director of Residential Life. So I'd like to break up my time with you in 3 ways. The first is to give you a brief overview of student housing that is available. The second is to talk about if you've already deposited and the application process. And then the third is just question and answers. And I know question and answers can be very difficult in this online platform. So I really want you all of our students to utilize, our students and families to utilize the Q&A feature that exists within the WebEx platform. And then that way it can also be farmed out to anyone on this panel. So it just doesn't have to be about housing. It can be about financial aid, Center for Student Success, but please use the Q&A feature if you do have questions. So our housing is set up into 2 different styles. The first style that I want to talk about is Hawk Hall. Hawk Hall is 8 residential learning communities. Those communities include our honors, our social justice and leadership, our creative arts, our wellness, as well as new ones including social justice and leadership, global and community engagement, and esports. And I think that's all 8. Yay me. So the deadline for Hawk Hall is May 15th. Hawk Hall is one long building with around 50 students per floor, breaking down to about 25 students per RLC. And the reason I say that is Hawk Hall isn't a community for everyone. If you know you're a student who wants that experience where you aren't going to do well with a floor of 49 other people, I encourage you to think why you are applying for Hawk Hall. If it's for the RLC, great experience. If it is the experience of wanting to just be in that building, I would really think about looking at one of our more traditional complexes. We provide the exact same community in those traditional complexes. So that's where I'm going to kind of swing to the complex part. The complexes are our traditional buildings. They have recently undergone renovations to give more lounge space, updated washing and dryers, laundry rooms. We've also added in video game lounges, pool tables, and TVs into every lobby. So that way students can be kept up to events or kept abreast of events that are going on campus. So we've actually put a lot of effort into making our complexes more engaging in this format. So those are kind of the two different styles of housing. Each first year room is going to have a desk with drawers, a desk chair, a twin XL mattress, along with a bed and closet. And some have underdrawers, so on and so forth. So the actual rooms also have air conditioning in all of our first year areas, as well as IPTV, which stands for Internet Process TV or Internet Protocol TV. So every single student gets their own Xfinity account with a DVR, which is cool, because that means you can absolutely still watch stuff that you would at home with no additional cost. So now we're going to kind of go into the application. If you have not done your application, it will be available to you 2 days after. I know that says 10 days. It's actually 2 days after deposit. And those 2 days, usually it rolls at around 2 a.m. So even if you deposit at 11 p.m. one night, if you deposit 11 p.m. tonight, it will be available to you on Saturday. And so one of those things is, it is really about figuring out and being honest in that application. So we base people on and we match people on intricacies. So there's 7 questions in that application. They range from how warm do you like your room? Are you a morning or night person? Or are you a smoker? Or are you an extrovert, introvert? All of those really get to the point of what we're trying to do is pair best opportunities will help. And interestingly enough, that application is just one part of this. We have other parts. So for medical housing, if you need medical housing, please let us know and we will work towards you with medical housing as well. That's just an example. We're very flexible and accommodating, but the application is the first step. If you are requesting roommates, you can do that through the application. So if 2 of you go to the same high school and want to live together on campus, we can make that work. You would simply just, in the application, there's a little checkbox that says check here to be searchable, and then you just search for your roommate that way. So we're really here to assist you and make your first year experience and years after that the best opportunity for you. I'm seeing some random questions that are coming up on my feed, so I'm going to get back to those. But the one that I see really right here is, when will we know if our requests have been met? I assume that means room requests. We're going to do room requests for all first-year students if you've already deposited in early to mid-June is when we're looking right now. And that's along with our normal kind of timeline and processes. So I'm going to kind of take a step back, answer some questions. The biggest thing and the thing I want to leave you all with is, if you have any questions that I don't get to, please email reslife, RESLIFE @hartford.edu, reslife@hartford.edu, and it comes directly to me and my staff, and we can easily help and sort some more intricate questions out for you there. And again, be well. Suze, I think this is all you now.
Yes, it looks that way. Again, thanks for being here on this. In Connecticut, it's beautiful outside. So I want to spend just a little bit of time talking about health and wellness, which is so important to everyone's well-being. And I think the message that I want to send to both our incoming students and our families is that your students are never alone. We have such a dedicated team through our Center for Student Success, through the Student's Office, through our academic partners, through Residential Life, and then through some campus support. So there's always going to be someone there, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have staff to support your students and you, mom and dad, guardian as well. So health and wellness, so first year transition. So we are in unprecedented, challenging times right now, and we are still moving forward to give your either your student or your son or daughter a wonderful freshman year, and then moving into our sophomore, junior, and senior years. But the first part of that is that first year transition, and we know from experience that that can be full of emotions. That can bring stress. It can bring excitement. It can bring sadness. All of those things are very normal. And so we spend quite a bit of time with our families, either over the summer or in the first couple, we say 6 weeks transition for our students to acclimate them to Hartford, to let them know all of their support, to spend time with them one-on-one, addressing challenges that they may be having. I want to assure you that all of that is normal. And so if you have a student or you are a student and you're concerned about going away, use the summer to reach out to us so that we can start to build some of those relationships now, so that you'll be a little bit more comfortable coming into the college. Max gave the reslife@hartford.edu account. My email address is here. I can also get you in touch with other folks. Please email us if we can be of service to you through a phone call, through Skype, through Zoom, whatever it takes. We're here, and we're not going anywhere. So let me break down some campus support areas that fall under either my direct line of supervision or someone on my team. So accessibility services. Accessibility services is our disability services provider. We call our department Access Ability because we focus on the students. We focus on the fact that they have ability, and that's what's really important to us. We, like any other collegiate institution, go through the formal process of having your student come in with proper documentation. If you have a student with a disability, you know the word IEP, you know the word 504. Those documents do not follow your student into college, although we will take them as secondary evidence that there is a disability. Instead, we use other criteria for determining eligibility. You're going to hear lots more about disability services over the summer through orientation, but if you do have questions, please reach out to us. You can email me. Accessibility Services our website is up to date, and all of the information about documentation requirements and what we will need to work with your student coming in is all there. We will mirror accommodations received at the high school level if we are able. We do take that very seriously, and we also offer what is very students really like. It's called academic coaching. Meeting one-on-one with our students with disabilities to give them an additional layer of support. So if you have questions in regards to that, let us know. Next, I want to spend a minute talking about health services. We are proud to partner with Hartford Healthcare. They are our clinical providers on campus. We operate like a doctor's office would. We see students for sick visits, strep, mono, flu testing. We give allergy shots. We do STD screening and testing. We have a full women's health clinic offering exams, pregnancy testing, emergency contraception, birth control, etc. We do give out some of the more common prescriptions and over-the-counter medications. And the big one for families, immunization. If you haven't already, you should be getting all of your immunization forms ready for submitting to us. Students do have to have those on file with the institution before we start our semester. Our health services department is open right now. We're open 10 to 2. A lot of our clinical providers are working from home, but they are checking the phone. They are responding to emails, and that information is on our website. You can also email me directly, and I can put you in touch with someone. We also offer after-hours care if your student or student, if you happen to get ill and health services is not open. We do have Hartford Healthcare Go Health urgent care facilities that are virtually all over the place. The closest one to us is just 2.5 miles from campus. We work closely with our public safety department. Should your student not be able to get off campus for treatment, we certainly can help get them there. A lot of students use Uber as well. So we are, there's not really an issue that we can't handle when it comes to your student's health. A lot of times it's just doing a lot of the coordination ahead of time. So that's health services. Counseling and psychological services. This is our counseling center on campus, and our counseling center offers a wide range of short-term counseling services to our students, individual counseling, couples and group counseling. Our clinical providers, they are licensed psychotherapists or psychologists, and these services are available at no additional cost to our students during normal business hours. We also have an after-hours on-call system where we could take care of your students after hours. We work closely with our residential life team and our on-call staff. So again, I go back to there's someone here on campus 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year. We're here, and we're not going anywhere, and we are going to offer support and programming around wellness education. We are just so excited for this upcoming year and can't wait. We'll do a lot of planning over the summer, of course, but we're excited to have your students join us in the fall. And I'm going to stick around, so if you have questions.
Okay, there's lots of questioning going on, and I would tell you, everybody, that you can use the Q&A feature if you'd like to ask a question. Some of them are being answered, and if some of them I think are worth mentioning. A bunch of them are about housing, Max, and maybe we can, sum them up. One of them is how many roommates do you have? When are you going to get the housing assignments? One is about how big the rooms are. I don't know whether you know the exact dimensions, but if somebody's asking for that, I guess they have an idea in their head about how big the rooms are. Max, could you just mention again about what I think is a great feature of UHart housing, which is no one is involuntarily triple coming in as people hear about at other colleges, where you show up and all of a sudden there's 3 beds in your room or 4 beds and you were expecting 2.
Yeah, absolutely, Rick. So I think I tried to write down as you were talking things you want me to touch upon. So if I missed something, please let me know. And again, the Q&A feature, I know I'm trying to write back to all of you at the same time. So Rick's absolutely right. The majority, and when I say majority, I say 98% of our first year rooms are double beds. They are built for 2 people, double rooms. And the reason I say that is because we have 4 triples in Hawk Hall, which are built as triples. So they are gigantic rooms. Has the exact same amount of furniture, but they are built for 3 people. The same exists in a few of the complexes, not all of them. But it's also a time where if you have 2 roommates, and I know I was presented with 3 students all from the same high school who all want to be roommates together. It's that type of environment where a triple succeeds. And if you want that experience and you know of those 2 people, let us know and we can try and make that happen. So yes, all of our spaces for first year students are doubles. We do have medically approved singles. So if you need a medically approved single, again, reslife@hartford.edu. and we can definitely put you in touch with Suzanne, who's the one who does the medical placements of students. But it starts with a form, and we would be absolutely happy to send that form along to you. When will you know about your placement? Early to mid-June is really the best opportunity and my best information for you at this time, I think, for that. We are still currently accepting applications, and at that point, we kind of roll everyone, and we start placing people. Applications, as easy it is to input your information, we really want to take some time to make sure that we pair people appropriately. And we also want to give time for people to kind of find each other in the roommate process, whether it's through whether it's through Facebook, Instagram, other social media channels. We want to make sure that we give that space so that way you and your peers can kind of connect with one another and learn about one another. So that way we can kind of make relationships start even before they get to campus. In regards to the dimensions of the room, I don't know that off the top of my head, but when I take a break off of these comments, I'll go out to my exterior office and grab the information and come back, because I think it's sitting on a wall out there.
All right, thanks, Max. One of the questions that I noticed is something that I've been asked a lot about through email, through phone calls, and that is, of course, what are the plans for the fall? There is an email from President Greg Woodward that I believe was sent out today that talks about things in general. And what we can say in general, of course, everyone understands, having gone through this together, that you say, you plan for the future, and then hopefully we are able to move ahead in that way. At the moment, the Governor Lamont of Connecticut had a press conference last week at which he signaled the opportunity for colleges and universities to welcome students for face-to-face instruction and for living in the residence halls. And we are planning right now that we will be welcoming students to the campus for face-to-face instruction, and we will be welcoming them into the residence halls. We will, of course, have safety of our students and our faculty and staff as our primary concern. So there was a question like, are students going to be wearing face masks and things like that? So if those kinds of things are on your mind, you can be assured that there are lots of people thinking about those things, both at the university and in the State Health Department and at Hartford Healthcare. And we will be taking every precaution that is recommended to make sure that everybody is safe. Mike, there were some questions about how are they going to register for classes. Maybe you can talk a little bit about what some of the components of the virtual orientation are going to be.
Absolutely. So the start of the process for, I guess, to consider the start of the process for registering for classes is going to happen at orientation. They're going to talk a little bit about the curriculum and what you can expect in your first year and what you're probably going to see and expect on your schedule. Obviously, we're going to be breaking students into different groups during orientation based on college. So to give you kind of a rundown of the orientation program, we're going to have our welcome program, welcome everybody and set out expectations for the rest of the year, rest of the summer and into the first year. And then we're going to break people into college groups, and you'll hear from your first year advisors and get to meet them during your orientation session. You'll also get to hear from your Red Caps and hear a little bit about their student experience and hear from some of their suggestions and be able to ask questions directly of our orientation leaders and be able to interact and engage with them. And then you're also going to hear from deans and associate deans of your particular college. And in some of those groups, you'll be broken down even further into smaller groups for particular programs because they can also, those programs can be kind of structured and very, very tailored to that each group. So at orientation, you're going to get kind of an overview of what you can expect for that. So students will be meeting their first year advisors at that point. For some of our larger colleges, you'll meet maybe 2 or 3 of who your advisors could be. And for some of our smaller colleges that have one first-year advisor, that will be your first-year advisor. If you have questions and you want to start asking questions of your first-year advisor, best thing to do is to email css@hartford.edu. Say, I have some questions about summer classes that I want to take and if it's going to match with my curriculum. If I'm really thinking hard about, if I want to major in this or if I want to specialize in that, email css@hartford.edu, include what your expected major is going to be, and then they can assign it to the appropriate person. And so as far as putting together your schedules, so just shortly after orientation, we dig into, some of you might have received surveys already. If you haven't, if you haven't filled those out yet, or they haven't hit your inbox yet, they'll be coming very soon. But we're surveying all first-year students, incoming first-year students, to gather what their interests are. And so some programs have a little bit more flexibility than others. If you're a nursing major, there's not a ton of choice in terms of when your classes are going to be offered and what you have in terms of electives within the first year. For a psychology or a communication major, there's a little bit more flexibility, and so the surveys are going to differ based on what your program is and which college you're in. But our advisors are going to evaluate that information and put together a schedule incorporating as much of your preferences and responses to those questions as possible. And then we're going to start to build out the schedules early July. And so you can expect, probably at the end of July to receive your schedule for the first year.
I did see a question that is related, I guess, to the comments I just made. Is UHart planning to have a fall session? And the answer is yes. Now, I want to make clear that, as we have all learned, it would be an understatement to call life lately be anything else other than fluid. But all of the signs and measures in Connecticut in terms of the COVID virus are headed in the right direction, which is the first measure of what the fall semester is going to be like. We actually have a number, 5 or 6 different scenarios, but as circumstances begin to become more clear, then some of the scenarios become less likely and others become more likely. And we will adjust according to those circumstances as the summer goes on. We certainly have always had great opportunities for students to take courses online, and whether or not online learning would become part of what the fall is going to be like, or a greater part of what the fall is going to be like, we'll have to see. So at the moment, again, we are planning on what we know today and the circumstances that we are looking at in the near future at the moment to have face-to-face instruction and welcome students to the residence halls. Are the students going to wear masks was one of the questions, and I would say who knows right now, but I think that, for example, is a reasonable, reasonable expectation. Let's see. There was something about lighting in the complexes. How is the lighting in the complexes? Did you see that, Max?
I didn't get to that one, Rick, but lighting is overhead lighting in all of the complexes. Interestingly enough, the university, in partnership with an outside agency, and I'm sure someone on this panel knows which one, the university got a grant to move all of its light fixtures campus-wide to LED lights this summer. So we are actually in the process of starting that in the residence halls over the next couple of weeks. So all of our residence halls should have new LED lights by the fall, which is great for energy purposes. So there are lights in all of them. There are windows, obviously, in every single room. And I was able to find the dimension sheet for our first year complexes. Each room is a 12 by 16 room in the complexes. And each one has some sort of closet and or wardrobe bureau. And all of the beds are twin XLs. That's standard campus-wide.
Okay. I see a question here, which I'm going to make an assumption. Oh, first of all, it says, Max, what is the deal with micro fridges? That's a good one.
So it is a really good one. I mean, they're all good. The deal with microfridges are, Microfridge is a company that rents fridges. And the nice part about this experience is that you don't have to be responsible for bringing it in your car, nor do you have to be responsible for taking it home. It is literally brought to your room pre you moving in, and it is taken out after you leave. And so that's a really good experience, especially if you're someone from California who doesn't want to ship a fridge or something like that. In regards to non-micro fridges, students are allowed to bring fridges, microwaves up to a certain size, and I will find the link and make sure I find it for my next round of information of where our prohibited items list is and items that we do recommend that all students bring to campus. But we recommend that once you have your roommate, really talking with them and figuring out who's going to bring what. Like I said, the rooms are 12 by 16, and so 2 fridges or 2 microwaves can easily take up some of that space, which we don't want. So communication, I think, starts with, hey, what are each of us bringing to campus?
Okay. Suzanne, I understand there's a number of questions that you'd like to have an opportunity to speak about.
Yes, you know me, I love to talk. So many great questions, and I know they're all coming in. I want to say that if we don't answer your question, family, please reach out to myself, anyone on the panel, and so that we can answer your questions. There's just so many, and they're so wonderful. So I'm going to group a bunch of these together. There are quite a few questions in regards to PPE, personal protective equipment, what the university will be providing. There's a bunch of questions about COVID testing. So I can tell you as of today, the state of Connecticut, we are still in a shelter in place. We hope to have that partially lifted May 20th. We'll find out. As part of a reopening plan for the state, the governor's office has put a plan in place for colleges and universities in the state. That is a public document if you want to go look at it. Part of that plan does include the ability to test both students, faculty, and staff upon entering campus, and then an additional couple weeks after. So yes, at some level there will be COVID testing. I'm not in a position to tell you what that means as far as actual tests. There's quite a few out there. as far as saliva, swab, we just don't know that just yet. We will, and soon, I'm sure. So stay tuned. I suspect that you will be kept in the loop as far as what our plans are. I know that we are looking to get information out to students and families by the end of June at the latest, and maybe sooner. So we are at this point taking our guidance from the state of Connecticut. Your safety and our safety is what's most important. And so we don't want to rush into decisions, and we want to make sure that they're mindful and that they're caring and that we take safety very seriously at what we do. So that's my answer on that. The next topic, completely unrelated, but sort of related, is privacy, student privacy. So our students fall under what we call FERPA, Federal Education Rights and Privacy Act, and this protects their student records. For example, for students over the age of 18. Or actually, let me correct myself, 17 entering college. So that one's a little, okay. So financial aid, residential life records, student conduct records, academic records are all covered under FERPA. So in order for us to speak to you as a parent about those, your student can sign what we call a FERPA release, and most students do sign that release in some capacity. You can pick and choose, talk about academics or talk about financial. That form is available right now on our website. Our orientation team will also be speaking quite a bit about the Privacy Act and the forms that your student will need to sign for us to speak with you. That said, a parent asks, given what we're all going through, will we be more flexible? And the answer is yes and no. No meaning that the law is the law, and I don't anticipate the Privacy Act to change at this point. With that said, I think if we believe there is a health emergency involving your son or daughter, we're not going to wait. With or without coronavirus, we would be in touch with you if we were concerned about your student in any health-related capacity. So a member of the residential life team, the Center for Student Success, or my team would call you if we were concerned. I think that sums it up. Again, if I'm not getting to your question, please feel free to email me.
Okay, thanks, Suze. There is a question here, just so everybody knows. One of the great features about the University of Hartford is we have students from virtually, I shouldn't say virtually nowadays, should I? But almost every state in the country and 50 or 60 different foreign countries. And there's a question on here about a visa into the U.S. And all I'll say to that is there's actually going to be information if there are other international students listening in. There's going to be information and advice coming from us about what to do in the short term and as the summer unfolds, depending on the opening of U.S. embassies and what to do. So I will just say to our friend from Indonesia and any other international students listening, we are on top of that. We know that's something that you're concerned about, and we're thinking about it. Catherine, was there something you wanted to talk about?
Rick, yeah, thanks. I've got a couple of questions here that I just wanted to address. The first question that I got, which I think is a good one that some of you may be wondering about, is when will the first bill for the fall semester be released? As of right now, the first bill is scheduled to be released the first week of July. So you should receive, if you deposited to the university, you should receive an email to your hartford.edu email account with information about the bill that will direct you to log into your self-service account, which is our online student portal, where students can find out more information. We're going to go into a lot of detail about that next week during our Dollars and Cents virtual event. So definitely come to that and we can go over more information. Another question I got, which I think is a great one, is regarding work study and working on campus. So the Federal Work Study Program is a federal program offered through the U.S. Department of Education where they allocate funding to institutions to grant out to students based on need to work on campus and earn a biweekly paycheck. And so that will not go toward the student's bill directly. Students will work on campus usually between 5 to 10 hours a week, depending upon the position on campus. Nothing that will interfere with academics, certainly. We do limit that for students as they are students first. And again, that is a limited amount of funding. So all of the students that may be eligible for it, unfortunately, will not receive it. You'll know if you've received it because it would have been listed on your financial aid award letter. That being said, if you think you should be eligible or you'd like to find out if you are eligible, but you don't see it listed on your financial aid award letter, you certainly can email finaid@hartford.edu. We do have a waiting list for those funds. And usually every year we take a pretty significant amount of students off our waiting list as other students don't use those funds throughout the academic year. So it's definitely a good option to go ahead and email our office and get yourself on that waiting list. Thanks, everyone.
Off the top of your head exactly when it is? Well, I guess you didn't hear me. Max, there's a couple questions about roommates. One of them that's come up a couple times is if we requested a roommate and either they're in a different building, that's one thing. There was a question here about a student who's a dance major and wants to know if they can be with another dance major or perhaps somebody else in the performing arts. Can you mention a couple things about that?
Yeah, I can certainly try. So roommates, we're really flexible on roommates. And part of the reason, like I said earlier, that we want to wait until to do all these placements is so that way you can find a good match. We'll match you with someone, but we really want to try and have you find that match that works for you, whether it's a dancer or a violinist and a mathematician, so on and so forth. The only area that really has those dedicated learning communities is Hawk Hall, and part of that is that shared interest. But outside of that, you can still request one another. And you do that through your housing portal. You type a little bit in your housing portal, which is on self-service, which I don't think I've actually talked about yet. Self-service is our application where you get your grades, you pay your bills, and you have basically everything at your fingertips. And that appears to you once you have your ID number after you deposit. So that's where all of this information is. So you go onto self-service and you go up to student, which is a tab at the top, and you click residential life. That will bring you to your housing application. From there, you go to the place that says create your profile. I'm looking at it right now, at which point from there, that's when you do an intro about yourself. So you write the fact that you're a dancer and you want to live with another dancer. And then you can simply search for people of like mind, and you can see everyone's profile. And it will kind of guide you based upon those quick answers. Are you a smoker? Are you a nighttime or a morning person? And it will kind of give you the best, what the system thinks are your best matches. And then you click into them, and then you can each mutually select one another. The important thing is that you make yourself viewable and including in that search. And that's the checkbox that most people forget to click. I did get one question about transfer students and housing, so I actually feel like this might be a good time to address that. One of the things with transfer students and housing is depending upon when they are transferring in regards to their academic career, we may look to try and put them into one of our upperclassmen environments. And the benefit of that is that we would actually put you with other transfers because we want that community to form because there is that commonality amongst one another. Rick, do we think I answered those questions?
I do.
Awesome.
Okay. Mike, what about orientation for transfer students? How are they going to get registered and so forth? And then the second question is orientation under normal circumstances is a great way when students get to, meet the people who are going to be their classmates. And I know you've been working really hard, and I'm very impressed with the opportunities that you're giving for students to, for lack of a better term, to meet each other as part of orientation virtually. So.
Yeah, so thanks, Rick. First for transfer students, we do have a transfer-specific orientation session. Got a couple of questions from transfer students about the transfer session. It's best to select the transfer session if you're coming from a community college or you have at least a full year of academic experience at another college. It's going to provide you with the information that's going to match your needs most appropriately. And as Max was talking about, if you're living on campus to live with other transfer students, the transfer session is also going to be an opportunity to meet and get introduced to other transfer students. So that typically is the best fit. We know we usually do it a little bit later in the summer because students, decide to change their mind and transfer to the University of Hartford throughout the summer. So if you need information before that, email css@hartford.edu. You can also, Julie Spring is our transfer student contact. So we have somebody devoted to transfer students in our office who works very closely with admission. So you can email our office if you're not sure who to get in touch with about your schedule, and we'll connect you with the right person in the right college to work on your schedule. As far as students getting connected and getting to meet each other throughout the summer, mentioned before the Zimi platform. So I believe late next week, we're planning on sending that out to students so they can get set up on that platform. You can think of that kind of like it's been described as Instagram and Instagram Live, but specifically for University of Hartford students. So the benefit is when you get on that platform, you're going to be engaging with and seeing other students who are going to be your classmates in the fall. And so that allows for you to get to know them, ask questions. And part of what we're structuring there is to have our orientation leaders be a part of that so that they can generate those conversations, ask the appropriate questions that are going to allow you to meet and interact and engage with each other so that you learn the information that you're looking for in order to make those decisions. Something else that our advisors are going to be pushing is small group interactions throughout the summer. Again, another opportunity to be able to meet each other and get to know each other. Certainly put names to faces, but also to like I said, to get to know where people are coming from and what they like and dislike. All those important things when you're starting to build those initial friendships.
Thanks. Catherine, a question that I have seen many, many times in the chat room from the admissions page and also by email. And if you covered it, I apologize. It's worth repeating. How do students accept their financial aid?
Sure, Rick, no problem. 2 ways. The first is if you have already submitted your deposit to the university, the portal that Max was talking about through the self-service center, you can actually log in there. And if you click on the financial aid tab, you will find information about accepting your financial aid right online. The other way is you would have received a hard copy of your financial aid award letter in the mail. You can actually, there is a reply copy with that. It's page 2 of the financial aid award packet. You can actually just send that back to our office. We are accepting those via email, so if you just take a picture of it or scan and email it over to finaid@hartford.edu, we will get it processed. But I would say the easiest way at this point is to go ahead and log into your self-service center and accept your aid right online.
Yeah, and of course, right now, certainly under the circumstances, the sooner the better, but they don't need to worry about missing a deadline or anything like that.
Correct. Yep, we're absolutely still taking financial aid reply copies throughout the summer. No problem.
Let's see, when is the first tuition bill due? I think you touched on that. Did you want to touch on that again? Because that question just came in.
Sure, yeah, no problem. So the first tuition bill right now is scheduled to come out the first week of July, and it will be due at the end of July. So you'll have some time throughout the month of July to work with financial aid, to work with our billing department, to make a plan to get that covered. A question did come in from a student regarding whether or not the university offers a payment plan. We do offer a payment plan. It is serviced through a vendor called CashNet. You can find more information through your self-service account and sign up for that right through self-service. Essentially, it is a 5-month payment plan for each semester. So you would take however much you wanted to pay each month and set that up right through CashNet. For example, if you owed $5,000 for the first semester, you could pay $1,000 a month for 5 months to pay your balance off. There's no hold associated with that. There's no late fees associated with taking advantage of that payment plan. And we will go into more detail about that. Another question came through regarding the dollars and cents and whether or not an invite had gone out. Yes, an invite will be going out, so keep an eye on your email regarding that.
Okay, thanks. Max, I see you're the, as I would have expected, you're the winner today about a number of questions. People want to know where are they going to live and where are they going to eat. We haven't talked about food service. Did you want to take a shot at that?
I'd absolutely love to take a shot at that. And whatever I don't answer, I think Suzanne or Mike Ormsby can kind of pick up on. So one important thing I think that's really great about the University of Hartford is our physical location in proximity. So all of our first-year residents live in a circle basically with the dining hall at the center of it. So dining services is an integral part into our community. And they work really well with dining restrictions. Our food service provider is Aramark, and they are great. They have helped us tremendously working with students through dietary needs, through grab and go for people who may be teaching. They have meals ready before they even open. So they're really flexible in what you as a student and you as a family need. We have a clean room, which is a allergen-free room on campus for dietary needs. Jeff, who's one of the main people at the University Dining Commons, works to get to know students on an individual level to really make sure that you as a student have a great experience. Dining services and meal plans, all students are registered, all first-year students, I should say, are registered for the 7-day all-access plan. You can upgrade if you want to the 7-day VIP all-access program, which gives you some additional benefits, such as early reservation time for PDR, which is really they create a intimate dining atmosphere in one of our various campus locations, and they do a almost farm-to-table menu, which is a great experience. We have midnight breakfast, which is before each of our finals, and you get early access to that. And also meal equivalencies, I believe, come as part of that plan. Those plans are on the housing application because you select one or the other at that time. And then from there, you're just put into that plan. There are also things called dining dollars. Dining dollars are almost single dollars. It's almost dollar for dollar that you can use at various establishments around campus. So we have a Starbucks on campus. We have a Subway on campus. Our Jenga Student Union, which often people classify as the commuter cafeteria, is actually open to everyone. And they have a Moe's there. They have other chains that also rotate out to bring experiences onto campus for students. And that's where you would use something like your dining dollars. We also have a market, like almost a 7-Eleven here on campus, where students can use their dining dollars if they want to get something at 1 a.m. So that's, I think, the best thing for me to say about dining services. If you're on Instagram, at them, at UHart Dining. They are great Instagram people, and they will easily write you back.
Okay, thanks, Max. There's a question here.
Can I just add one thing
Go ahead.
to that?
Suzanne, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to add one thing. So we do require all first-year students, actually, that's not true. We require all residential students, to be on a meal plan. So there is not an opt-out feature. If you have a student with gluten or other types of food allergies, we would encourage you to be in touch with our dining services management team, and I can certainly help put you in touch with them to talk about your student. They will work with you on an individual basis to meet your student's needs, and they do everything. It's amazing. We have colleges and universities that look at us in awe because our dining services team is so fantastic. So definitely use this summer to talk to them about your students' needs so that we can be ready for the fall.
There's a question, Suze or Max. Good question. For dancing and theater students who eat lunch at backstage, are the dining dollars used, or is this part of the regular dining plan? I know I'm stretching you on this, Max, because you're not the resident food service representative. Or Suzanne, do you know?
Yeah, well, can you just repeat it? Do dining dollars work over at PAC? Is that the question?
Yeah, if they are theater or dance students and they're over at
Yeah,
HPAC.
so dining dollars and hot cash work the same no matter where you are on campus, regardless of what college you're in. So our students can use their dining dollars and hot cash over at the Performing Arts Center. It would not be separate.
Okay. Here's one. Also, Max or Suze. Who's responsible for cleaning the bathrooms in the complexes in Hawk Hall?
I'll take that one. So we have a great custodial staff here on campus. They clean the complexes and Hawk Hall bathrooms daily. At least once they take out the trash, do a quick wipe down, and then every single week right now they get a deep clean where we truthfully go and clean everything out. Now, again, that's something that's probably going to change in the current environment, but we definitely do take pride. I know the custodians take pride in their work, and so do we. So it's really important that students, if there is a problem, that they kind of tell us, so that way we can at least get a reactive environment and reactive approach to that portion.
Okay. Two more meal plan questions. This one's probably from a parent. How do I add more dining dollars to the account as needed? And the other is, I'm a commuter student. Is there a commuter meal plan?
So it's pretty simple to add dining dollars or hot cash to the account. Most of our students will do it online through the dining services website. You can also actually physically go in to see our dining services team and do it in person. So it's pretty simple to do. Commuter students can absolutely still have a meal plan. If I'm not mistaken, we have a meal plan designed for commuter students in mind, and that information should be going out to incoming students shortly.
Okay. There was a question about, I guess I'll call this COVID related, I assume from a parent. And what I want to reassure the parents of at least two things. The first thing related to admission deposits is we understand, as I have said, it almost doesn't need to be said, but this is a fluid situation. Things changing. We feel like they're changing for the better. But this year we have made the admission deposit fully refundable should plans change, your personal plans change over the summer. So for those of you who are listening who have not yet made your admission deposit, I would encourage you to do that for at least two reasons. One is if you want to live on campus, you can complete the housing request process and have the opportunity to get your housing assignment along with everybody else. And the second thing is that you can participate in orientation and all the activities that'll be going on, as well as getting registered for your classes. If plans change, your plans or our plans, the admission deposits are fully refundable. There was a question on here, which is sort of one of those, well, what if questions. And what I want to assure you is that we had spring break back in March. Our students went on spring break, and that is when the university determined that we were going to move to online classes for the rest of the semester. What I want to assure this parent and all of you is we did a prorated housing and dining plan refund or credit to our students, credit if they're coming back next year and a refund if they were seniors. So we did the right thing there. I know, Mike, that there was a question about the guest fee and some of the orientation fees, and I know that part of the orientation program is really good food that we're not going to be able to give them in the next couple of weeks. But a credit is being issued for a portion of the orientation fee as a result. So what I want to assure the parents of is that we are doing the right things for our students and families when it's called for, either by credits for housing from the last semester, returning a food portion of the orientation fee, and I hope that parents will feel that they're able to trust us to continue to do the right thing as this term unfolds. Let me see. Let's see if there's other questions. If not, I don't want to keep everybody on here. Our guests and our panelists, it looks like we are up to speed on the questions. If you have questions that you want to ask that you haven't done yet, go ahead and drop them in the Q&A section, or else we've been going for almost an hour and a half, which is just fantastic, and I'm so happy to see so many parents and students still with us. I don't see too many other questions. I don't know whether any of my colleagues are seeing any. Let's see, can you go into detail about shuttles from the university to the Hart School and other places? Who's the best one to answer that? Anybody? I do know, Max, are you going to jump in on this?
I can try. I can at least start off. So we do have a shuttle system that runs campus-wide. On campus, there are almost 3 different color shuttles is the easiest way to say it, because they all have different loops and locations. So we have our little bus system on campus. One goes campus, one goes down to our Hartford Performing Arts Center, which is where the musical theater, dancers, as well as some of our actor theater programs are. And then one on weekends actually goes to the local community. We have a shopping plaza nearby called Bishop's Corner. We also have West Farms Mall, and those weekend ones almost run every hour, and they just kind of do a circle. On campus and to HPAC, because I think that's what the question was about, I believe it runs every 45 minutes, and it leaves from the normal where the Hart School is. So you would have to kind of get to the Hart School, and then it would take you over to HPAC.
Right, okay. Catherine, there's a question here about how does a parent get their FSA ID and password? Catherine?
I'm here. Sorry
Okay.
about that technical
Okay. How
issue.
does a parent get FSA ID and password?
Yep, I heard the question. So if you would like to retrieve your FSA ID and password, it can be retrieved online through the secure governmental site, which is fsaid.ed.gov. The FSA username and password is the same username and password you would have used to complete the FAFSA. And so you're going to use that same password throughout all of the federal sites, whether it be, applying for additional loan funds or doing counseling online or signing loan agreements. That's all going to be the same password. Again, if you need to retrieve it, you'll go to fsaid.ed.gov.
Okay. Let's see, let me check up in the chat box. And there's a question there that I'm asking Max to handle, I think, for some housing. It's like we're all up to speed on things. Perhaps we should just give some closing comments. I know as I've been the Dean of Admissions at the University of Hartford for a while, and I never could have predicted that one of the years would be like this. I've seen a lot of things, but I will tell you, I am so impressed with the work of so many people at the university to get us through the spring semester with classes online, and to do amazing planning that is unfolding, sort of like events like this. So we had 160 people on here, so this was, the same as an orientation when we would have a parent panel. So we are excited to get this year going, and parents, students trust us. We have a lot of people thinking about lots of things, and I get a lot of comments from parents regarding the good job that we think we're doing by trying to deliver information and activities and services to you under these really difficult circumstances. So if anybody else wants to jump in with some closing comments, I would invite you to do that now. Anybody? Mike?
Yeah, Rick, I just wanted to say, first of all, I mean, with this pandemic and having our staff working from home, first, I miss them, I miss the students, and I know we are just craving student interaction. And so I'm excited to see all of you that sign up for orientation. And I know our staff can't wait to get into conversations with our students and be able to do what they love to do, which is welcome students and begin those connections for the fall semester. So we're really looking forward to that and can't wait for the very next second that we can get onto campus.
Great.
So I just wanted to say we're looking forward to it.
Okay. Oh, Catherine, I'm glad I looked at your face and you know, and I know that people are, and I guess you'll cover this in dollars and cents, but since we still have a lot of people listening, if families are experiencing hardships related to COVID, how can they get a hold of a financial aid counselor to explain what their circumstances are and see what else we can do to help them?
Thanks, Rick. Yeah, definitely the first step through that is to just email our office. You should see it on the screen, our email address now, which is finaid@hartford.edu. That is definitely the fastest way to get a hold of us right now. But also, if you call our office and you can leave us a voicemail, we can definitely call you back. And we are setting up Zoom and WebEx calls as well. But I would say the first step would be to email our office and explain your situation. And we've got some kind of steps in place to help families out.
Okay. There was one last question that I saw. Do we have feedback from current students regarding online classes? How did they like them? I have two answers to that. One is I was talking to one of our tour guides, and I asked her that question, and she said to me, took just a little bit of adjustment, but once we got adjusted to the for the new conditions, it went great. And as a dad, I will answer that question to the person who asked it. My daughter just finished up program at the university in prosthetics and orthotics. And if you want to try and think about the teaching students about prosthetics and orthotics virtually, it doesn't get too much more difficult than that. And I would talk to her a lot about it, and she had the same answer and really was very complimentary. Our faculty did a fantastic job, really racking their brains as to how to make the classes virtual. And I think over the long haul, it's probably going to be a great asset going forward. But the students that I spoke with were satisfied that the classes went well. Last one, other construction. I don't know about the track. That is a project I don't know much about. I do know that the construction for the new academic building that is substantially related to students in broadly in the health professions is still going on, as construction was one of the businesses and that in the state of Connecticut, construction projects were allowed to continue. So I have not heard that there was any interruption in the construction of the new academic building. Maybe we can try and find out about the construction. Do you know about the track, Max?
I don't know about the track right now. I can say that the construction equipment is still on for the academic building. I see it, and it's coming together quite nicely.
Okay, great. So, folks, I think that is it. an hour and a half. We can't thank you enough for your attention and your questions. I hope that you found this to be useful, and I will tell you there will be many other programs like this around many other topics that we know will be of interest to you. So keep posted, reading your email, and checking out our website from time to time so that you can get all of the information about these events as they're scheduled and as they are presented. So thank you. Be safe, and we hope to see many of you virtually very soon as part of orientation, and then to greet you personally when you get here at the end of August. Thank you. Be safe. Take care.